Hey guys, Ken Stretz Tactical. So, yeah, we live in a Glock world, but from time to time I get students in classes that come with something else, maybe not the best choice for a gun. And, you know, my answer is always, hey man, why don't you just get a Glock 19? And usually the person will tell you, I just don't like Glocks for whatever it is. They don't like the way they look. They don't like the way they feel. They don't like the grip angle. Whatever it is about it, they don't like. So I want to start doing a series of video reviews on other guns to give people options out there. So what I have here, and this gun is cleared and safe for all the safety Nazis, no mag in it, any of that other stuff. It's a P30L, HK P30L. I don't remember which variant this is. So a few years ago, got hooked up with the folks at HK, and they sent me, I don't know, 5 pistols to T&E. And I bought this one, and I bought the HK45, at a discount or whatever. So I didn't get any freebies from HK. Did get a discount. And somebody I was dating at the time bought the VP9. And then we sent back P30SK. So basically a Glock 26 size version of this, where it had a decocker. Actually, an interesting decocker on the SK model. It's a push button. You push it in, straight in to decock it. Not, swoop down or anything like you normally see, but you push in on the, I think it was on the frame, not on the back of the slide. I might have it backwards. Maybe it was on the slide, but decock. So that one was a DASA. Double action for the first pull, single action for the second. And then there was another gun on 40. It might have been 2 VPs, maybe the VP9, VP40, I forget. But I really like this gun for a lot of different reasons. So let's dive into this gun. So P30L is a hammer-fired gun. And you might go, hey man, hammer-fired gun, we're in 2020. Well, what's kind of cool about this is, again, the gun is clear and safe. So when you load this gun, right, mag in, work the action, it pre-cocks the hammer internally. I'm using my hand here behind the gun so you can't see, but it pre-cocks the hammer internally, right? So what does that mean? So the first trigger pull is pretty long, but it's only 5.5 pounds. So I'll use my pinky to just show you the first portion is pretty long, and you can see the hammer cock in here, but it's pretty light. And then you get to that wall, and this part, I can really feel the strain on my pinky. So I'm going to switch to a trigger finger, and then it drops. So now, if you get a click instead of a bang, yeah, I get it, tap rack, that's what we do here in America. As I understand it, it was designed so that if you're using this gun in Europe, and where submachine guns are still prevalent in the law enforcement community, and submachine gun ammo tends to have a harder primer, the way they manufacture it in Europe, the way I understand it. If you know better, hey, put something down in the comments, but this is how it was explained to me a while ago. So if your trigger pull is lighter, your hammer might not be falling as hard as it would with a heavier trigger pull. So now the second trigger pull, I'm struggling with my pinky to pull it back. Why? Because it's now 11 pounds. You can pull it with your trigger finger, no problem. All right, but it's definitely heavy, right? It's 11 pounds. And that is in case you get that hard primer. So you get a click instead of a bang. Again, yeah, here in America, tap rack, and we're good to go. We got that bad round out, and whatever. So just a different take on it. Some people will also say, you may not even realize you get the click and you're just going to keep pulling the trigger. I think that's a training issue. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that, but I do like the lighter trigger pull. And what's cool about having a lighter trigger pull and this hammer-fired gun, and when you load it, i.e. pre-cock it, it's got that long travel, right? So yes, it's lighter. It's 5.5 pounds. So I put this on a trigger pull gauge, and it's first thing is 5.5 pounds. Second one is 11. What I like about that is you have time, right? That long trigger pull. You see something, you decide to shoot, and then you realize, oh wait, I shouldn't shoot, or you get startled. And yes, that's a training issue as well, but people are human and it happens all the time. You get startled, and that longer trigger pull might give you that time to not break the shot, right? So that I like that. And then The other thing is if you're carrying appendix, which I'm a big appendix carry guy, that's all I carry off duty is appendix. Having a hammer fired gun, right? So I'm pulling the trigger here and pulling the hammer back. If I go to reholster, I put my thumb on the hammer and I put the gun in the holster, right? I got a holster here. As I'm reholstering, if something gets caught, some clothing gets caught on the trigger as it's going back in the holster, my belt buckle, whatever, I'll know it because the hammer is going to start pushing on my thumb and I'll go, wait a minute, let me stop what I'm doing, pull back and you should be looking the gun into the holster anyway. Contrary, I know that's like a big thing in law enforcement. Oh, don't, look downrange, instead of looking at the holster. But so many people have shot themselves. If you want to keep your eyes downrange till the last second and now just kind of look real quick or whatever, probably prevent you from shooting yourself. So your take on it may vary, but I've seen a lot of people do some stupid stuff, and a law enforcement officer in my area here just, 1 or 2 years ago, shot herself going to reholster, so on the range. So, just throwing it out there. Maybe you want to look the gun into the holster. But that's a nice thing about a hammer-fired gun and appendix carry. You put your thumb on it, and you'll know if you're getting that pushback on the hammer, hey, something's wrong, and let me kind of take a step back here and see what's going on so I don't shoot myself. So that's something I like. Other options on the gun that I like. Completely ambidextrous, right? So you have a slide release that's ambidextrous. You have magazine release that's ambidextrous. You can kind of see it right there. The typical HK paddle, which I know in the VP9 they have a regular push button now. I don't know if the push button's ambidextrous, but the paddle magazine release is. So the gun is completely ambidextrous. It's got front cocking serrations if you're a front press check kind of guy. I prefer back here, but whatever floats your boat. And they're wide serrations, so they grip in pretty good. The grip. So the grip has multiple different configurations. It's got, like small, medium, large. I don't remember if there's an extra large. I got the box tucked away somewhere. Back straps. So small, medium, large, and then small and medium or small, medium, large side panel. So you can make the gun fatter this way and fatter or wider or longer, however you want to put it, that way, which means you can, with the exception of the front strap, you can fatten the grip. And you can even do something weird if you wanted to, like I'll do a really fat one over here and a really thin one over here and the medium back here or whatever. You could do whatever configuration you wanted. And I'm going to assume, I don't know this, that they sell replacements, and if you want to get them stippled, you could probably send them out if they're thick enough to get stippled, and stipple them up. This has got texturing, but I don't think it's aggressive enough for me. I think if I was going to carry this gun a lot, I would probably have them stippled. But that's just me. It's personal preference. It's got a typical rail. The sights. The sights have what they call, in this version anyway, luminescent paint or luminescent sights. All right, here we go. Here's the luminescent sights. I got a Surefire Tactician 800 lumen light. I'm going to just light up the sights, simulate daylight, get them nice and lit up there, and I'm going to shut off the lights and see how they work. And there you go. So it takes the sunlight, or if it was on your nightstand at nighttime or your law enforcement, you're going to go into a building, pull your flashlight out, light up your sights, and you can see they glow in the dark like it was tritium. So basically, let's say this was a duty gun, and it's in your duty holster where the sights might be exposed to light, or you pull your gun out outside, and now you're going to go into a building to search for someone. The sunlight kind of charges the sights, or charges the paint that are in the sights, and now you go inside, and it's like you have night sights without actually having the tritium vial night sights. So I'm going to imagine it's a cheaper option than the night sights, but don't hold me to that. I think it is, and I think that's kind of the concept behind it. Something else to think about with HK pistols, right? So there's different variants. So I don't remember which variant this is, but there are, if you look here, there's a little notch on either side. And I believe that is so you can add a thumb safety. My HK45 has one. So if you like the P30L, research the variants. Again, I'm not Mr. HK, but I do like this gun. Another thing to talk about is the trigger guard. The inside bottom of the trigger guard here, I'm just trying to get it for the light. Use this pen. If you look in here, there's this groove, this track. Some people, if you get big fat sausage link fingers, you can kind of, I'm trying to replicate it here, pinch your finger in that track when you're firing the gun or during recoil as it recoils. I've felt it a little bit here and there. I don't have big sausage link fingers, but I believe there are companies that will smooth that out and get rid of that track. I'm really not sure what that's all about, but I do believe you can have that removed. I'm not sure who does it, but from what I understand, there's companies out there that do. So let's head out to the range. All right, first up, Fiocchi 124 grain, 25 yards, 10 rounds, freestyle. Six o'clock hold this is going to be. All right, so not bad. So just for point of reference here, there was some, you can see this bird shot on here. There's some shots that were from someone else earlier. I fired 10 shots. So 6 o'clock hold, right? When I shoot a new gun or I change sights or change ammo, I like aim small, miss small. So aiming here, less margin for error than aiming in all of the black with your wobble zone. So yeah, aimed here. Black is 5.5 inches. So you can see the group is slightly bigger than 5.5 inches, maybe closer to 6, with a good majority of it being probably 4 or 5 inches right here. But I still scored A, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm bad at my math here, so it's a 93. Haven't shot the gun in a while, but pretty pleased with that performance. Obviously, it shoots a little high if I was holding it 6 o'clock. But, you know, I love the gun. I don't shoot it enough because I carry a Glock on duty. My carry guns are either Glock 19 or P365, so I don't shoot this enough, but now we'll do the test. 10 yards, 10 rounds, 10 seconds. All right, the test. 10 yards, 10 rounds, 10 seconds. From the draw. All right, 976. 976. Let's review. First shot was, what is that, 2 something? 259. So that was a pretty slow draw there. 349, so what's the split on that? 0.83. It's pretty slow splits. 0.75, 0.76. I'm reading this backwards here. Yeah, so these are pretty slow splits. And that was probably one of the slowest I ever did the test in. 976. Usually you do it around 7. So this is the, as I've said earlier, the LEM Light trigger. I like the trigger, but it takes getting used to, especially when you're used to like a Glock trigger or an 1811 trigger or whatever. But shot pretty good. So there's two ways to score this, right? So turn the camera around here. There's the Ken Hackathorn way, 90 or better. So if you look at this down 2, 3, 4, 5, so 95. So past Ken Hackathorn's method. If you use Larry Vickers, now Ken came up with the drill, but if you use Larry Vickers' method, holding yourself to a higher degree of accuracy, it's a fail because there's one out of the black. So Larry is keep them all in the black, and Ken is 90 or better. So pass by Ken standards, fail by Larry standards. So you got to decide which. You know, when you do the test, which one is, before you shoot it, which one you're going to go for. So it's a fail, you know, but it's no fault of the gun. The trigger is definitely, it takes a little getting used to, and I've only put a few mags through it today. I got about maybe 500-600 rounds through the gun altogether. Like it, just again, getting used to the LEM light, and I think that's law enforcement module trigger light version. I think there's a light and a heavy. You know, it just takes a little bit of getting used to, so it feels a little awkward until you get used to it. And you know, I've run it in classes and stuff like that, so I like it. Nothing bad to say about it, but it just takes a little getting used to. That's all. So there you have it, guys. HK P30L. Obviously, there's plenty of variants out there with the HK pistols. Just got to do your research. I like the gun. I think I need to start shooting it a lot more. If you got any questions, put them down in the comments, and I'll make sure I get back to you guys. All right. Until then, stay safe, train hard. I'll see you on the range.